Cryptocurrency is the digital asset of the future, but it has a very last century problem, not enough women. Whether it's on the investment side of things or on the development side of things, the gender gap is still very real. Today, we're going to talk about whether or not the cryptocurrency ecosystem has what it takes to even the playing field. With the APAC growth head of MakerDAO, Jocelyn Chang, and Sharma from WazirX. Hi guys, welcome to Business Insider.
Hi Prajot, thanks for inviting me to the chat. Yeah.
Thanks for inviting us, Prajot.
So Jocelyn, I don't think a lot of people know, but you actually started out like in the traditional financial sector with HSBC, right? You were a banker with
HSBC. Yeah.
So tell us how you found your way from there to like blockchain technology. What was your aha moment that you were like, cryptocurrency is where things are headed?
Yeah, okay. Let me just give you a brief background about myself. I mean, I wasn't just a banker. I dabbled into a lot of
you designed your own social media app and like tech entrepreneur. I apologize.
I'm jacks of all trades, So I actually joined MakerDAO about 3 years ago, and before that, like you said, I started my career with HSBC, and then in the retail banking side, and then I also built a social networking app and launched it in Singapore. And then later on, I was a project manager actually representing a Norwegian company that implemented that actually built a population alert system. I was representing them, and the clients actually Ministry of Home Affairs in Singapore. And then I was doing some like software redistribution sales as well in the whole region. And then one fine day I'm like, okay, like what should I do next? I can't be like selling software for the rest of my life. And then I started actually going to a lot of like niche blockchain crypto meetup events 4 years ago. And I think starting mid 2017, when I was still in Singapore, I think I went to at least 2 or 3 or 4 crypto events per week in Singapore. And I still remember my first crypto event was actually organized by this decentralized exchange. And then I was genuinely intrigued by, how the blockchain technology and wanted to learn how and why it would actually change the world. And then I actually attended a blockchain course which was organized by a student back then in Singapore. And it was, I think, a 3 months long blockchain course, which the student actually adopted the syllabus from Berkeley Blockchain University, Berkeley University blockchain course. And then, I continue attending a lot of meetup events. And then at one meetup event, I actually met the previous community head of Asia from MakerDAO in Singapore. And then so I started actually following, like MakerDAO, the project itself in late 2017, which was then actually led me down the whole rabbit hole of actually discovering Ethereum, which seemed really exciting because, a lot of dApps was actually building on Ethereum at that point of time, because Ethereum was the first blockchain that actually that has got smart contracts. And then, and then after that, I started getting more involved, talking to several different projects. And then I joined MakerDAO and switched to full-time in the whole crypto space during 2018. So I think like a lot of people in crypto space, right? We joined crypto because of a philosophy or an ideology. So for me, I joined crypto because of the whole grand idea of decentralization.
No, that's awesome. So like when you initially entered, like when you joined up with MakerDAO, when you were going to these meetups and exploring what blockchain's all about, did you see like, because I know in Singapore it's kind of like there's no digital divide, gender disparities a little less comparatively. So when you went to these events, were the rooms like an equal balance of representation, or was the ratio still skewed?
It was pretty much a 70-30%. So obviously 70% males and 30% females. I think not just crypto, right? Like any other tech events, you always see a lot more, male attendees, and then and it was, yeah, it was not like skewed, like for example, 90%, 10%. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was more of like 30, 70, 60, 40. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, Priyanka, you were the head of PR and social media and comms at WazirX. What was going through your head when you signed up with Wazir? I mean, not only was there and like still is a lot of regulatory uncertainty around cryptocurrencies, but Wazir was a startup as well. And in India, normally job security plays like a really big role in deciding what you want to do for the rest of your life. So when you were in that position, what factors helped, make up your mind?
So I think for me, I became familiar with cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and blockchain sometime in 2014 or 15 when my colleague forced me to buy some Bitcoin. And now looking back, I only wish I could go back and probably bag some more Bitcoin while I had the chance. But I got seriously interested in crypto and blockchain sometime in 2017, because again it was a lot in news, and then I started reading more about it. What how a blockchain functions, and what are different kind of cryptos. And again, just like Jocelyn, I fell into the rabbit hole. And just at that time, Nishal, Siddharth, and Samir, who are also the co-founders of a previous startup I was working for, they decided to work and build a crypto exchange, which is now WazirX. And it only seemed natural that I wanted to be a part of this, because I was super excited by this this phenomenon. And I mean, it was such an early stage, and especially in India, right? And I mean, I didn't want to miss on the opportunity. So for me, I even though crypto, yes, it was way riskier than it is today, because at least today we are having a dialogue about crypto regulations, and we're having like legit conversations. Earlier there were a lot of myths and misconceptions. People wouldn't even talk about crypto as if it were a taboo word. But the fact that this is an innovative technology, and it is the future, like it's a next.com. So it made complete sense to be an early adopter, because it's only going to go mainstream, and it is. I mean, I'm so glad that I got the opportunity to kind of be at the right place at the right time to be a part of this phenomenal exchange's growth since right in the beginning. And yeah, it's been amazing.
Just out of curiosity, like when you were like telling your parents, okay, you know what, I'm joining up with a cryptocurrency exchange, how did you explain that concept to them? Like, what was that conversation?
Oh God. Oh, my dad, he was always afraid. He thought one day I'm going to get arrested. I'll be jailed for working in the crypto domain. I mean, and I think during 2018 to 2020, when there was a banking ban in India, there were a lot of fear and misconceptions about crypto, right? Like, and the most important and pertinent question, like whether it's legal or not. And every time some news about crypto ban would come in, and my dad would screenshot that news and he'd send it to me on WhatsApp, like, are you sure what you are doing? And I'd be like, yes, I know what I'm doing. And I don't think until 2020, anyone in my family tried to even understand what I'm doing or the industry I'm working in. Only after, I think crypto got a huge PR do-over after the Supreme Court of India upturned the banking ban. And that's when people started looking at crypto in a more positive light, and they wanted to understand, what this is all about. And yeah, ever since then, I think my dad calls me up every weekend asking me, hey, which token I should invest in now? Come on, tell me. And I'm like, hello, where were you in 4 years back when I'd been after you all to invest in crypto?
Jocelyn, was like the story similar for you as well, or it was a different situation with your family?
Not with my family. I think mainly friends. I think like what Priyanka said, right? 3 years ago, I think that there was a lot of negative connotation about, cryptocurrency and so they talk about cryptocurrency. Oh, that's scam. And then so when I started telling my friends that, hey, I'm actually working in the cryptocurrency space now, like I'm working for this project. I'm like, oh, which scam project is that? And I'm like, yeah. So but over the years, I actually started, seeing, the whole narrative that changes, like where media started talking about, started putting positive lights on like cryptocurrency or like even blockchain itself. So yeah, I think things actually change a lot, like similar to like Priyanka, I've got friends that reach out to me and say that, hey, like what should I invest? So yeah, things are changing. And also these days I actually talk to a lot of financial institutions a lot. Because we are trying to bridge, DeFi to centralized finance. And I see the change. Yeah, I see the whole landscape actually evolving over the past 3 years.
Like since both of you are have been asked this question, some of you every weekend, what cryptocurrencies would you recommend our viewers to invest in the coming month or so? Because the last week was supposed to be an exciting one for Bitcoin, right? With the way things are shaping up. October was obviously phenomenal. So what can we look for? What would be your, let's say, top 5 bets? And Jocelyn, you're not allowed to say Bitcoin and Ethereum. Those are no conventional answers.
And yeah, so the thing is, I don't trade myself. So my portfolio is pretty much, that really mainly MakerDAO itself, Maker token. Not trying to shield the project here, but I really do hold a lot of Maker tokens. And I mean, if everyone heard about the project itself, like all the contributors working for the DAO is actually incentivized in a way by getting paid in like Maker tokens. So that and I mean I'm not an Ethereum maximalist, but I actually do believe, the growth in Ethereum ecosystem. I mean, if you look at the total value lock and across the entire DeFi space, right? I mean, Ethereum is still top. I mean, it's still the top. Like, they have about I don't know, like maybe I think it's about 244 billion. The entire that's the whole TVL of the entire DeFi space, and Ethereum itself is 2 billion. So I mean, that was actually 3 years ago. So now it's actually probably like, I don't know, like maybe 100 billion or something like that. So 100 billion, sorry. Yeah, so it's really growing very fast, not because, like the project itself is actually built on Ethereum, but you also see a lot of like, developers that are building on Ethereum as opposed as compared to other different chains. But obviously, there are a lot of new blockchain protocols these days. Yeah, I mean, I think we are still at the very nascent phase. Yeah, I don't have a top 5, to be honest. I don't have a top 5 bet. Yeah, but yeah.
How about you, Priyanka? Because you have like a direct line into the cultural conversation that's happening around cryptocurrencies. So what would be your top 5 picks, perhaps?
I would ask you to do your own research before buying or investing in any crypto.
That's a good one.
But besides Bitcoin and Ethereum, again, I'm holding a lot of WRX. Again, not shilling WazirX token, but that consists a major chunk of my portfolio. But other than that, I'm also holding a lot of Matic. And I recently invested a bit in Cardano and Solana. Both of the projects are doing pretty well. And yeah, so these are my topics.
So basically, you're betting big on decentralized finance being like the next big horizon that's gonna cross. Nice. Okay. Speaking of that, WazirX itself saw like a huge jump in women investors this year, especially from smaller cities, I think, if I read the report correctly. So
that's right.
What is driving that push? Because when you're talking about decentralized finance, we're talking about financial freedom, we're talking about stability of income, which for a lot of women in India is not like a guarantee. And a crypto exchange is facilitating that. So what has been like the conversation that you've seen happen? What are the reasons that people are choosing to invest, women specifically are choosing to invest in crypto?
So when we were churning out this data, and this finding was not only surprising, but it also made us very happy internally that so many women, especially from the rural areas of India, are participating and are outperforming actually their urban counterparts. But I think not just from rural areas. I think in the past year, the like the female sign-ups has grown by over 2000% in the past year. And I think pandemic has been the biggest driver of this, because a lot of women, so we surveyed a lot of women to understand, what is, how do they feel about crypto investment, and what made them trade in crypto, and what do they think of this as an investment stream. So the most common answer has been to of course to generate a new stream of income, which became a necessity after the pandemic. And also the fact that because it's such a nascent asset class, investing in like such a new asset class can be very empowering and liberating for women. So that's also been very important. And I think another thing is, I personally know a lot of women who are fund managers, and who are very active traders, and who frequently keep sharing their learnings and insights on social media platform. In fact, I'm also part of an all women like an only female group where we just discuss crypto, the market performance and how it's going. And it's great to see women support each other and sharing their learnings, which again makes crypto look less intimidating to women who are, or like right now, who are sitting on the fence wondering, whether this is for me or not. So I think that's been like a major factor here. Also the fact that in the last year, we have seen that beyond trading, there are a lot of areas where women can participate in crypto. So like WazirX also has an NFT marketplace, right? And we have a lot of amazing NFT artists whose NFTs have sold and performed phenomenally well, which is again a new source of income for them. And there are a lot of female influencers or marketers who are doing like again a great job in promoting crypto education. So there's been a bunch of things, and which have had like a cascading impact on like a lot of things, and then which have led to an increase in female participation. But I think the most important has been the fact that it kind of, they feel like it creates inclusion. It makes them feel included, something that they don't probably feel in traditional traditional finance and those kind of assets, because probably they feel that it's too late. But crypto, it's so nascent that no one is an expert here, and that's what makes it so perfect to enter it at the right time and become an expert here.
So basically, I'll come to like the crux of it. While like it's great to see women participation being celebrated, and especially because historically we've seen a gender gap when it comes to finance, when it comes to IT, both the sectors we've seen a gender gap, and cryptocurrency and decentralized finance, this is where like those two worlds intersect. So, and cryptocurrency on its own has been touted for like solving forward-looking problems, right? Like when it comes to hyperinflation or, clean money and climate change and corruption and whatnot. So when it comes to blockchain, how does that overcome the barrier that we've seen in male-dominated sectors? Like you said, one thing is that it's nascent and that it's empowering, but what is the solution here? How do we get the momentum to, continue the way that it is? And also perhaps even, take this opportunity to bring that gender gap not be so wide anymore. Jocelyn, do you want to kick that off?
Yeah, sure. I mean, again, it's not just crypto industry, right? I mean, it's also the tech industry as a whole. I think we still have a very long way to go towards achieving equality in the workplace, in both tech space and also crypto space. But obviously there are a lot of different ways that we can actually do better. So I mean, I personally actually believe
so I'm sorry to interrupt. I just want to ask, basically you're saying like the way the crypto space is going right now, it's following the trend that IT has seen in the past.
Yes. So I mean, that's right. And I mean, because in crypto space, we have a lot of there's a lot of, most of the contracts, or rather the or the technology tech stack itself is actually built by engineers. And in tech field itself, there are already there's a lack of female engineers in the space. And I mean, I think I don't know if it is just the whole personality difference, biological difference between men and male and females, because when I started actually picking up like coding, like 5-6 years ago, I mean, I got bored out of it, and I just couldn't, spend, like hours coding away, and then I used to actually work for on this social networking app, right? And then I was sitting together with a whole bunch of programmers, I think 5 of them, and out of that 5 of them, there is actually one female programmer. So I would say, yeah, so that's like, what was it, like 1/5? That's 20%, right? 20% females in tech field. So I mean, where obviously, the gap actually became widened in crypto industry, because now we're talking about a very specific programming skills, coding language, that engineer need to use. For example, for Ethereum, it will be Solidity, and then obviously if you go to Polkadot, that will be like another different programming language that people have to pick up, or programmers have to pick up. So I see, I see that crypto industry, it's basically, I mean, like the gender gap. It's basically emulating what the tech space is right now. But I mean, like, again, I personally actually believe in meritocracy, meaning that you get hired because you're capable. I mean, like you're performing, and not because you don't. I mean, like, and not because we are trying, not because we have been endorsing equality and stuff like that, but rather or we need more females in the industry. And because I also feel, I mean, I simply think that it is not true that the tech industry or crypto industry is trying to segregate females and males, but rather it's just maybe a biological thing, where maybe females are better with humans, and then therefore you actually see a lot more females holding on to different roles in crypto industry, as in business development role and also marketing, than seeing them coding or coding smart contracts. Yeah. So, and also because I mean, like, crypto and blockchain companies don't just need like engineers, right? I mean, like, if you're female, you can always, I mean, there's a lot of entry points into cryptocurrency or blockchain businesses. And again, you don't have to be a developer. You can be, I mean, you can be good at, say PR or marketing or business development, for you to actually find a place within the ecosystem itself. Yeah. And I actually do agree with Priyanka. I mean, it is inherently or crypto itself is actually inherently more inclusive because than the traditional business, because like it's borderless. I mean, like a lot of organizations are really a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization. In fact, we had like within the DAO itself, there's an integration engineer that he is a Nigerian actually, and he just moved to Dubai. And I mean, like, if, for example, if he, the likelihood of him joining MNC is actually lower than him joining a crypto industry, because we look at, I think, capability and merits instead of, just the background itself. So, I mean, whether or not you're female or male, or like, you're from, third world countries or like developed countries, I think we are inherently more inclusive. Yeah, that way.
All right. Priyanka, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I perfectly agree with Jocelyn on the fact that crypto is borderless makes it actually all the more inclusive, because anyone with a smartphone and internet connection can participate. So I mean, that's amazing.
In a country like India, like, how would you address the digital divide problem, which is bigger, so that people can have the capability, like Jocelyn was saying, that it's about just being good at what you do or what you're interested in, regardless of whether that's coding or something else within the ecosystem. But how do you address the digital divide problem to make blockchain take off the way it has the potential to in our country?
I think most importantly right now, the education or awareness is the biggest problem and the hurdle, because crypto is at such a nascent stage in India. There are a lot of misconceptions and not enough learning resources for people to understand. So that's speaking for the masses. Now, especially targeting, if I just want to talk about women here, so one common pattern that I've noticed is that when you look at any investment advertisement or any messaging, public messaging with regards to investing or finance, anything fintech related, women have never been the target audience of it. You look at whether it's anything. So this is the first thing that we have to change from comms perspective, that we have to make our public messaging more inclusive and probably make it make it less intimidating for women to think that this is something that they cannot participate in, because that's one of the reasons that a lot of women are unbanked in India compared to men. They have lesser access to financial resources, and which actually put a lot of women in trouble during pandemic when they lost their close made relatives and all. But on a broader level, there is a sheer need for proper education and awareness around crypto, not just in terms of investing, to help them understand the hows and do's and don'ts of investing, so that they don't end up speculating a lot and lose money, but also in terms of career prospects. So for example, WazirX has been going to colleges and we've been doing webinars among college grads, whether they are MBA or engineering students, to help them understand about the various prospects, not just restricted to engineering, but also again, whether it's about public policy or any other workshop that we can conduct. But this, we have to build a momentum here. This has to become we have to take it very seriously, and we need dedicated resources to promote more and more like a culture of learning, because this is a major problem, so once we clear this, and the fact that there is a lot of regulatory uncertainty in India also does not help our case here. So again, there's a lot of lack of clarity. People don't understand. So I think first we need regulation, and then of course a series of educational resources. However, probably something like platforms like Coursera and all, if they end up integrating like a proper module wise learning thing for crypto, and we make it more accessible to people, not just in urban cities, but also in like the smaller towns and cities of India. So I think we have to look at it both ways, not just among the masses, but also make the investing and everything less intimidating for women.
So that's like those are some very specific insights about India. What I would want to ask Jocelyn is, because since we're running out of time, with respect to like the larger Asian market and then looking at the Indian market, do you see any differences in how people are investing or making their choices about which cryptocurrency to back? And also, what are MakerDAO's plans for India? Since you're the head of APAC, please give us some insight on what we can look forward to.
So yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't speak for like the differences in investing. I mean, like I guess we still see a lot of speculators actually. I mean, we're in the nascent phase. I mean, like cryptocurrency is still at its nascent phase, and then and obviously 5 to 10 years later, Bitcoin or whatever cryptocurrencies that will achieve a certain point where it is less volatile, but still even across Asia. I used to live in Singapore, fly in and out, Southeast Asia, in Vietnam, there's still a lot of speculators. I mean, day in, day out, I talk to speculator friends. But the thing is, I must say that I think in terms, so that's for investing, right? But for projects wise, I actually see a lot of great projects that were, that came out of India. For example, InstaDApp was actually a project born out of Ethereum India, which is a hackathon that took place in at Bangalore, if I'm not wrong, like 3 years ago, and or 2 years ago. So InstaDApp right now is actually the 4th largest DeFi protocol in the Ethereum space. And then obviously we have the Polygon, which is previously the Matic team. They're great, they're trying to build a EVM compatible chain, cross chain. So and then when you go to like China, another big powerhouse, you see a lot more Bitcoin mining companies and big exchanges. And then when you move towards the West, for example, US and Europe, there's actually a lot more innovation happening. You see a lot of innovative DeFi protocols that are pushing out products every 3 months, or every now and then. And in India, I think I think crypto market in India is just started booming, obviously because of the whole regulatory changes, right? I mean, over the past few years, I mean, I think just 2-3 months ago, I was talking to a partner in India, and he was like, "Hey, oh my God, there's a statement from was it RBI or the court, yeah, and then Supreme Court saying, basically passing on a remark saying that banks are not allowed to actually offer like on ramp to crypto companies, and then later on RBI actually corrected that statement, and then yeah, I mean, and which that actually obviously helped give that injection of faith into the whole cryptocurrency space in India, and then that it was after that then I started seeing a lot more Indian cryptocurrency exchanges raising rounds of funding and being valued as unicorn. So for me, I think the sleeping crypto giant in India has just awakened, and for us, I think MakerDAO actually started early building that communities in India like a year or 2 years ago. It wasn't even early enough for us actually, because at that point of time when I was with MakerDAO Foundation, I was actually a community lead building communities, and there were again there were a lot of regulations uncertainties, but now I think it is yeah, I mean it is just the start right now, yeah, for India.
All right. On that note, so the cryptocurrency industry is ripe to get disrupted by women coders, investors, developers, and there's a lot of opportunity in the making, and hopefully there's a bright future ahead, and obviously only time will tell because cryptocurrency is still nascent. So go work hard until you think Bitcoin is cheap. Thank you very much for joining us on Business Insider, and we'll see you next time.